Okay, so now I'm going to do a reading for those who would be considered conscious, right? So conscious, well, what does that mean? That means that you have reached a level where you understand that spirit is moving in your life and in the situations around you, right? You know that you still belong to the material plane, but you are seeking something greater. So you are aware, you are awake. Conscious means awake, okay? You have gone past that level of questioning, is there something more to life than just, you know, the everyday grind. You are an active seeker, so you may be involved, in some spiritual practice. Some of you may be readers. Some of you, may be may have an intuitive connection directly with spirit. You get messages. You're not just seeing messages, but you are able to start understanding them and absorbing them, right? You listen to readers and you know when something is resonant with you and you see it moving in your life. So you do not doubt in any way, shape, or means that that spirit is in your life, that you have a spiritual journey, but what you are looking for is maybe you are now looking to confirm what your spiritual gift is, how to use it, how to better yourself, how to be someone who is on this plane but also on in the 5D, right? So balancing both sides of your consciousness. You don't doubt that there is a creator. You don't doubt that there is a powerful source that we all come from. You want to know more, okay? So I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to shuffle the cards again. I'm going to do it 3 times. And asking Father, Son, Holy Spirit, please provide messages here. Give more for those who are conscious. All right. 1 card. Aha, look at that. 2 cards, they were stuck together. So I'm going to accept those because they were definitely attached. So those are 2 messages that are attached from the Oracle for my viewers who are on this level, this conscious level. Okay, I'm asking for more understanding. Asking for more understanding of their journey. 1 more. So we're conscious and asking for more understanding, meaning in their journey. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. First message. So this card says gathering together. So the first thing that comes to mind, Spirit is funny. For me, this talks about joining forces, right? Understanding that we who are conscious are connected to those who are around us, those in our family, those in our community, those in our country, in our world, in our planet. We are stronger, unified than we are alone. right? A house divided cannot stand is the message that just came through to me, right? So gathering together, unifying for a common purpose is the message. Gathering with like-minded people, people of like-minded, kin, people on the same spiritual journey, people on the same level of consciousness. I also feel the message is working to bring those who are awakening up to the next level of spiritual consciousness for the benefit of them, us, and all of those around us. Okay? Figuring out a way to unify, figuring out a way to stand as a unified force for good. Now that we're awake, now that we understand that we're spiritual beings in a physical body, right? That will continue on even if we're not in this spiritual body. We are here for a finite amount of time. But what is powerful here is that while we are here, we are connected to everyone, to all of us. And we see that now, right, in what's going on in the world, that one person's actions can affect the entire planet. Okay? Let's see what the other message here is. Stand still. Ooh, just got chills here. Okay, so stand still talks about exactly what we're experiencing right now, right? In most parts of the world. Probably where you are, definitely where I am. In the U.S., on the East Coast here. We are in a standstill. Everything is shut down pretty much. We are being forced to, interesting, this says grinding to a halt. So everything is ground to a halt here where we are. And alienation, some of the words are alienation, a stalemate, withholding, stagnation, grinding to a halt, insensitivity, mistrust. So interesting how we have, this is just so amazing how we have two completely divergent, opposite messages here. And that is the message. That we have the options here as conscious individuals, as conscious beings, to either unify or to alienate, to gather together or to withhold from each other. Okay? So those of us who are conscious of our spiritual connection to the planet, to one another, we're understanding, and we may face these choices every day. What's the decision? Are my actions, are my thoughts, are my feelings, are they directed toward unifying, to bringing together, to make something greater than just myself, or am I in some way dividing? Okay. In this card, you have water trickling, and you have many different streams coming from different areas, different parts of the woods here, all converging into what could be a river, a lake. So all the parts that are separated, right, need to come together to unify, to infuse this ourselves, our world, our community, our loved ones, our countries with the healing waters that we need in order to heal this planet, in order to heal ourselves. You have in hospitals, you have doctors, nurses, patient care assistants, administrative staff, all working together to heal. And so those of us who are on a conscious path, who are awake, we have to understand what our choices and our decisions are, and what they mean and what the outcomes are, right? Either we're going to bring things together or we're going to be separate, okay? Let's see what the first, and another, it's funny, another message on this card is mistrust. For me, that's mistrust of spirit. So if you consider yourself conscious, then you can't mistrust spirit. You can't doubt spirit. You can't doubt God, the creator. You have to keep that faith regardless of what's going on around you. You have to hold on to that faith. You have to trust in spirit. All right? And trust in your powers, your talents, your gifts, your strengths. And ask spirit to work through you. Okay? All right, let's see what the first card here is. All right, so this is transformation, and transformation is the death card. This is a powerful card. It's a major arcana. Death talks about transformation, about the end of something and the beginning of something else, right? So if we're talking about spiritual journey, we're talking about allowing that old self, allowing those old thoughts, those old doubts, fears, mistrust, all those negative energies, that old self, allowing all of that to fall away and to die so that the new self can come forward and be reborn, right? Endings and new beginnings. This card is beautiful because in her hand she is, for me, this is something that's being transformed. This is alchemy. This is taking something and creating something powerful out of something that has dispersed or disappeared. Okay? So some of you will be, Spirit is asking you to create a brand new life. Okay? A brand new self, a brand new level of consciousness. Okay? You consider yourself awake, but are you awake to what Spirit is asking you to do now, which is to create a brand new existence for some of you? Okay? Let's see what else that is communicated with that. Wow. Another major arcana, the Hierophant. So the Hierophant talks about structures, traditional ways of living, traditional understanding, traditional knowledge, foundations, institutions that have existed for centuries. It talks about traditional morals, traditional values, but often the Hierophant is about outdated mores, outdated ways of thinking, outdated institutions. So something in your life needs to be restructured, okay? Some structure that has been that you've been holding on to, that you've been adhering to, that perhaps you have been following the structure and not necessarily the spirit right? Not necessarily spirit's messages, but just an old way of thinking and doing because that's the way you've always done it, or that's the way you were taught, or that's the way you were raised. This is dying. You're being asked to let this pass away. All right? In order for you to move to the next level of your spiritual understanding, your spiritual awakening. And again, many of you may be experiencing loss, the death of a loved one, the end of something powerful in your life. Some of you may have lost jobs. Some of you may have lost possessions, an old way of life. And for many of us, we are being asked to let that go in order to sacrifice, right? Death, sacrifice for society, for the betterment of society. So there's a few ways that this can be taken, that we have to let go of our old way of doing things in order to create a new structure, create a new society, create a new way of doing things, whether it's globally, in our communities, in our families, or in our own lives. Okay? Interesting, because the death card 13 is Scorpio and the Hierophant is Taurus. So an interesting clash here, right? Opposition in astrology. But at the same time, they balance each other out. So usually when you have two people who are of the opposite sign, as is in this case, Scorpio and Taurus, you have a very strong connection there, very strong attraction. They need to balance each other out. There's a need there. Okay? Just looking at this card. There are two rings here. Some of you may have lost a relationship, may have ended a relationship that has been, a powerful loss in your life. Some of you, a relationship may be ending, a marriage, a long-term relationship. There is some major change. Next card. Queen of Wands. Queen of Water, which is the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups is a very spiritual energy. It's water energy. It is, energy as far as the water signs, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. The energy of the Queen of Water is, she's very intuitive. She is very receptive. She has a healing energy. Some of you may be healers, okay? It's interesting because when I was looking at this card, I was thinking, the Hierophant is the priest, represented by a feminine figure in this card. Some of you may have, I'm getting pastors, priests, reverends, counselors, spiritual guides, spiritual counselors. Some of you may be letting go of traditional religion to follow a path that is one of the intuitive. So some of you maybe, may have psychic powers. We all do. We all have intuitive powers, but some of you may be deciding to develop them, or may find that your consciousness is increasing your powers, your intuitive energies, your intuitive channel. You're becoming even more of an intuitive channel when you decide to let go of maybe the traditional religious teachings that you were raised up in. Okay? Maybe you were raised in a very traditionally religious family or community, and some of you may be forsaking that, or finding, an alternative religion that feeds your spirit, that is more, resonant to you. The Queen of Water is very tranquil, and she is, her eyes are closed here because she's meditating. She's in a state of meditation. She's in a peaceful state. She is in a thoughtful state. So many of you need to meditate, to find time alone, just to be alone, okay? Maybe some of you need to get away, if you can, under your, whatever circumstances you're in right now, away from family members, and just find your corner of your home, apartment, backyard, wherever you can, under whatever restrictions you may be under, to just be alone and meditate and speak to spirit, okay? Some of you may be finding peace and inspiration and messages coming through water, okay, with this being a watery energy. Again, if you are outside, you want to make sure that you're adhering to the precautions that we're being asked to, right, which is social distancing and staying at home. But maybe some of you live near water, or your home is adjacent to water, and you can be near this element without, being in someone else's space, or, endangering someone else, potentially endangering someone else. So, for those who are on a conscious level of spiritual awakening, these are the messages that are coming through. Let me take one more card here. A Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio could be very powerful influence in your life to help you with your spiritual journey, to inspire you to move on to another level of consciousness. Again, some of you who may have been experiencing a loss of a relationship, this standstill card could also, when I do readings, relationship readings, when I see this card, it can talk about separation, it can talk about divorce, people who are going their separate ways. There's an impasse between them, they can't see eye to eye any longer. Separation, alienation, because of something that has happened. There is mistrust. Someone has acted insensitively. So again, you may be thrust along your conscious journey here through a relationship changes. Okay. One more card here. Four of Wands. Okay. So, Four of Wands, interesting. The Four of Wands, I haven't spoken about it yet, but many of you are on a twin flame journey. For those who believe in twin flames, Four of Wands can often talk about twin flame journeys. Some of you could be separated, right, from that person who you consider your twin flame, and it could be that experience that has pushed you along to this level of consciousness that you are in, this awakening, this decision to focus on your spiritual journey, focus on developing your gifts, And, that could have been your trigger here to moving to this level of consciousness. The Four of Wands also can talk about home and the family. So again, many of you may be home right now, following precautions, and it could be through this time that you are spending at home where you're forced to be with yourself and maybe have this extra time to meditate, to pray, to speak to spirit, to listen to the voices that are speaking knowledge, wisdom to you. And I really love this card because she's in a rose garden here, but it looks as though she's dancing under some celestial light. This reminds me of the Ascension. And so physical movement may be something that is going to speak to you and speak knowledge to you about what your gifts are and what you need to do to continue along your journey of consciousness. Okay? But this is a beautiful card, and for me this card says everything's going to be all right. Okay, you're going to find balance, you're going to find peace with the Four of Wands. Some of you could be reunited with that person, with your person. The outcome here, and this is a timeless reading, so we're just asking for messages to sustain us along this journey right now. So I'm not putting any timing on these readings, but there could be at some point a reunion, could be at some point living with someone, moving in with someone, marriage, a traditional relationship could be the outcome here. But the message is to continue on with your spiritual ascension, to focus on yourself, and that's what this Queen of Water for me is, very much focusing on your own emotional balance, feeding yourself emotionally, finding something that speaks to you and fills you, right? These water cups cards are about filling those cups. So finding something that feeds you spiritually, so that you can remain in this sense of balance no matter what's going on around you. Okay? And so that you can contribute to this energy of unification, of gathering, and the sum being greater than the parts. Again, this could talk about a relationship and people coming together and realizing that they're stronger together than they are apart. So there's many ways that these messages can be translated. You'll know if this resonates with you. Okay? And let's see. Okay. All right. So those are the messages for those who would consider themselves conscious on their path, on their spiritual path here. And I'm going to gather them together and then do the last reading, which is for those who are in a state of spiritual ascension.